Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. So here we talk about Bible stories, but we put a little twist and turn to it to make it interesting and make it interactive for you and for me. So in this segment of our Bible story, we're talking about a story that is very popular in the Bible, but I won't mention the name of the story. I'll just talk about the story. Why you go to the comment section and tell me about the names of the popular persons in the story. So let's get into the story. There was this king in the Bible named King Ahasuerus. So this king was very great all through the land of India up to Ethiopia and was in charge of over 137 provinces. So he had a feast, and in this feast, he invited a lot of princes and kings and all that. And he called his wife, his queen, to come greet his guest, but she refused. So he got very angry and decided to dethrone her as a queen. And after dethroning her, he sent a commandment that all the virgins in the provinces, all the fair, pretty virgins in the provinces should be brought to the palace so that they would be purified and he can choose his new queen. So this purification was to happen for a whole year. You know, if you're not pretty, if you're not pretty within this 12 months, forget it. You can't be pretty because they provided all they needed, ointments, perfumes, and all that. And they had maidens that would take care of about 5 and 7 maidens were attached to one of these virgins from whom the king would choose his queen. So amongst these virgins was one virgin whom she is an orphan. She's under the care of her uncle. Her uncle sent her there, and she is a Jew. When she went to the palace, she found favor in the eyes of their caregiver, and he provided her with everything she needed to be very pretty and presentable for the king. So after her purification period, when it was time for her to go in to the king's court and see the king, she also found favor in the eyes of the king and made her his queen. So there was jubilation and there was a feast to celebrate the new queen. But her uncle told her not to reveal that she was a Jew. So it was something that was a secret between her and her uncle. Her uncle works at the gate of the palace, so he was using that as a means to check up on his niece to know what was happening with her. So things were going on fine till one time, two of the king's guards, they plotted to kill the king. And this lady's uncle heard about it, so he told the queen. And remember, I'm not mentioning the name of the queen, so you have to mention it in the comment section. So I know that you're very much into Bible stories. Yeah. So this uncle heard about the whole plot by two of the king's guards. They were plotting to kill the king. So he told the queen, and the queen told the king. So an investigation was carried out, and it was confirmed that these people were planning to kill the king. So it was written, her uncle's name was written in the books of the records, and that was forgotten. So after that, the king promoted one of his princes to the highest rank of, as he was after the king. And this prince's name was Haman. So it was the king commanded every of his servants to reference him, bow before the promoted prince and worship him. But this prince's uncle refused. he was a Jew, and he said, "No, I won't bow to this man. I won't reference thing." And the other servants, they noticed that he would not bow to this prince, which was Haman. And so they went to tell Haman that, see, there is this Jew that wouldn't bow to you. And Haman met him and asked him that, why won't he bow to him? And he said he wouldn't bow to him. He was so bold, you can imagine. So Haman was very furious. He's like, who is this person that would go against the king's order and not reference me? And he went to the king and said that there is this man and his people. There are these people amongst your province that would not take your orders. Permit me, if you will, to wipe them out of the face of the earth. Like, I would even pay silver, a huge amount of silver to the royal treasury. And the king was like, oh, no problem. You can go ahead and do as you wish. Go ahead and do what you want to do. And you have my stamp, you have my ring. So the king gave him his ring. And it was recorded that on a certain day, they sent out publications that on a certain day, the Jews, this queen's uncle, remember, is still hidden that this lady is the niece to this man. They've not made it open. Nobody knows about it. So the circular went out that the king has ordered for these people, the whole of Jews, to be killed on a certain day. Yes. And when Prince heard about this, he wore sackcloth and he went to the front of the palace. So he was not granted access into the palace because you cannot wear sackcloth into the palace. He then sent somebody to go to the queen, go to go to the queen and tell her that, is she not aware that they want to wipe out her people from the face of the earth? And the messenger went to the queen and told the queen. So the queen sent a reply back to the person to reply to her uncle, saying that there is little to nothing I can do. You know, I cannot go before the king unless he orders me to. And he has not told me to come in the for 30 days now. He has not asked me to come. And you know the law. If I go before the king without him calling me, I risk being killed. So when she sent that message to her uncle replied her saying that, don't sit there and act like you'll be exempted. By the time they are done killing us, every person, they would come for you because you are one of us. So don't sit there and think that, oh, you're exempted or your life is secured in the palace. So when she got that message, she then sent a message back to her uncle saying that, okay, that's gather all the Jews in all the provinces, gather everybody, and let them have a 3-day fast. So in this fast, nobody should eat or drink for 3 days. Everybody should fast. And I would fast with my maidens. So after those 3 days fast, I will go before the king. If I perish, I perish. So that was the audacity of the queen, and she was like, I would go before the king, my people won't be killed, and if he would kill me for coming before him, let me die. If I perish, I perish. So that was the message she sent to her uncle. Put the name in the comment section, I'm here. So the uncle got the message, and everybody, all the Jews around all the provinces under the rule of this king Ahasuerus fasted for 3 days and 3 nights. No food, no drink. And at the end of the 3-day fast, the queen presented herself before the court of the king. And when immediately the king set his eyes on her, he found favor on his eyes, so he couldn't punish her. And he brought out his scepter and she kissed it. So that was like a sign of permission that you are free to come before my presence. So when the queen went before the presence of the king, he asked, "Oh, my queen, what would you have me do for you? What is your request? Tell me. Even if it's the half of my kingdom, I would give unto you." And the queen said, "If it pleases my king, let you come for a banquet with me with Haman, who is one of your highest princes." So the king granted her request and said, "Fine, I will have a banquet with you. That is, I'll have a feast with you and Haman." And the king sent his guards to go ahead and call Haman for a feast with the queen. So the queen prepared the banquet for them, and he was so pleased with her. And while they were eating, he asked her, "Oh, my queen, what would you have me do for you? What is your request? What do you want? Even half of my kingdom, I would give unto you," because he really loved her. She had favor in his sight. So she then said again, "If it pleases my king, let you have a banquet again with me tomorrow and with Haman, that when tomorrow comes, I will present my requests." So the king said, "No problem, that is granted. The next day we'll have another banquet with you so that you can present your requests." So after the banquet, Haman went home and he was so happy. He went to his wife and his kinsmen and he was telling them, bragging about all he had in the kingdom and how the king so loved him that he called him for a banquet with his queen, and even told them that they have another banquet tomorrow, that even the queen loved him also. She wants a banquet with him. He didn't know what was going on. But then he had, in all of this, he had a bit of bitterness, because he said that with all his riches and all that he still felt very angry seeing the queen's uncle at the gate because he wouldn't bow to him. So his wife then suggested that why not you raise up, like build maybe a cross or something for him so that they would hang him there. So go to the king and tell the king that you want him to be hung there. So that was a suggestion. I said, "Oh, that's a good idea. I would do that." So that same night, the king couldn't sleep. He was just so restless. He couldn't sleep. And while he couldn't sleep, he called his some of his servants and asked them to read to him the book of the Chronicles. So the book of the Chronicles is the book where they have records of what has been happening and things that people have done for the palace. And while they read it, he saw the name of that queen's uncle. And he saw in the record where he was the one that reported those two guards that plotted to kill the king. So he asked them, "What reward has been given to this man who saved my life?" And they said nothing had been given. So he got so worried, and the next morning he sent for Haman, the same man, and he asked him that, "What do you think is a good reward for somebody that the king has delight in? What do you think the king can use to honor someone that he's delighted in?" So the Haman thought in his head, I think the king wants to honor me, like he loves me so much. So Haman said that the king should write the person in the king's horse with the king's royal garments and the king's royal crown. And one of the king's princes should parade that person around the streets. So the king said, okay, do all those things which you mentioned to the queen's uncle. And Haman he was so furious. He didn't know that he just mentioned a blessing for his enemy. So he grudgingly had to ride the queen's uncle on the royal horse and the royal garments, the royal crown, and all that. After that, he went home. He was so angry and he told his wife what had happened. And the wife said, wow, that this man is a Jew. And they are in trouble because they know the God of the Jew is not a joker at all. So while that was still happening, while he was still narrating the experience to his wife and all that, the king's guards came to call him that it was time for the banquet with the queen. So Haman went to the palace and the queen has arranged the banquet for Haman and the king. And so while they were eating, the king asked her again, what would you want, my queen? What is your request, my queen? So the queen then said that her request is that her life be spared and the life of her people be spared. The king was so surprised. Who would want to kill my queen in my kingdom? Who would even want to kill the people of my queen in my kingdom? And she said that there had been a plot to wipe out her entire lineage, to wipe out her people, and to wipe out her tribe. And the plot it's being plotted by this wicked man sitting in their midst, which was Haman. And the king got so furious and stood up immediately and went to the garden. So while he was there, Haman went to the bed and was trying to beg the queen. He laid on the bed trying to beg the queen, and immediately he was doing that, the king came into the room and he got so furious. He was like, would you also force yourself on my wife? So it was all looking like Haman was trying to even rape or seduce the queen. So the king got very furious and immediately the guards just took Haman away because the anger of the king was too much. And when he took Haman away, the queen then pleaded that her people that her life be saved. And the king said, okay, that is done. So she pleaded again that he should reverse the pronouncement, the commandment which has gone out for her people to be killed. And so the king brought out his ring and signed it that the Jews have the right to fight, that whosoever, any of their enemies that comes against them, they have the right, they have the king's backing to fight against them. So when that happens, the guards even told the king that, see, this Haman had plotted to hang the queen's uncle. So the king even got very furious and he said that, oh, really? That Haman should be hung in that thing which he had planted for the queen's uncle. And that was what happened to Haman. So the position of that Haman was given to the queen's uncle and he was next to the king. So on the day when it had been planned by Haman that the Jews would be wiped out, that was the day that their enemies, they killed their enemies, they killed them and killed all of them. So that day it was made as a significant day. It was called the Day of Purim. So it was a significant day where the Jews were saved from their enemy, Haman. So go to the comment section and tell me the characters. There are two characters I didn't mention their name because they are very popular. So talk about the characters and tell me what you think about the story. Tell me the part of the story that resonates very well with you. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Like and comment, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel.